Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the course Media and Society in Pakistan. Today I'm going to discuss with you the role of media in development. In this topic, I will discuss many things, but let's start it from mass media in our life. Everywhere, every day, exciting things are happening. Each day is filled with news. People learn news and views during reading newspapers and magazines, talking over the telephone, or they are kept informed by watching TV or listening to the radio. The press, the radio, and television, they all play a big role in the life of the society. They inform, educate, and entertain people. They also influence the way people look at the world and make them change their views. Mass media plays a very important role in organizing public opinion. Millions of people watch TV and read newspapers in their free time. Most of people can't do without a newspaper in the underground or during the lunch break. TV also dominates the life of the family most of the time. It is also a habit which impossible to resist. The radio is turned on the most of the time, creating a permanent background noise. So mass media become a very important part of our life. Mass media denotes a sections of the media specifically designed to reach a large audiences. This term was coined in the 1920s with the advent of nationwide radio networks, mass circulation newspapers, and magazines. However, some forms of mass media, such as books, manuscripts, they had already been in use for centuries. Mass media can be used for various purposes, like advocacy, both for businesses and social concerns. This can include advertising, marketing, propaganda, public relations, and political communication. Entertainment, traditionally through performance of acting, music, and sports, along with light reading. Since the late 20th century, also through video and computer games. Journalism is the disciplines of collecting, analyzing, verifying, and presenting information regarding current events, trends, issues, and people. Those who practice journalism are known as journalists. Electronic media and print media include broadcasting in the narrow sense for radio and television. In my previous lectures, I already discussed print media and electronic media regulatories in Pakistan, their censorships. Here, many instances of various types of recorded discs and tapes. In the 20th century, these were mainly used for music. Radio and computer uses followed. Film, movies, most often used for entertainment, but also for documentaries. The internet, which has many uses and presents both opportunities and challenges. For example, it can include blogs, podcasts, Mobile phones, which can be used for rapid breaking news and short clips of entertainment like jokes, horoscopes, alerts, games, musics, and advertising. So, publishing, including electronic publishing video games, which have developed into a mass form of media, since cutting edge devices such as the PlayStations and Xbox 360. It broadened their use. Millions of copies of newspapers appear every day. Many people subscribe to two or more newspapers. Other buy newspapers at the news stands. Most newspaper contains news, detailed articles on home and international affairs, reviews of books, art, and TV shows. Many of them also cover sports events. In the United States, daily newspapers are published in almost 34 different languages. The internet has recently become another important source of information. Its main advantage is that news appears on the screen as soon as things happen in real life, and you do not have to wait for news time on television. As you all know that television is one of the best inventions the man ever made. We are really beginning to forget what the world was without television. Everybody knows what a great force is TV in the world today. We become better informed by watching documentaries, science programs, discussions, and political issues of the day. Television gives us an opportunities to see the best actors, sports matches, to meet famous people. TV brings the world to our room. It also helps us to relax after a hard day's work. Besides, there is a considerable amount of TV programs, news, current affairs viewpoint, musical reviews, sports reviews, travelers club, and good nights kids, etc. They all are gather big audiences. They provide useful topics for conversations, wise heated discussions, current affairs. These programs deal with political and social problems of modern society. Their aim is to give an analysis of the problems and to show different viewpoints. They are concerned with the country's national events. They show meetings with famous political analysts discussing the most topical political problems of today. To my mind, we can't imagine our lives without mass media. It is a silly to avoid it, as we can use its advantages, though we should be careful and filter all information we get. In this lecture, this lecture provides information about the role of mass media in development. The significance of communication for human life cannot be overestimated. This is true because beyond the physical requirements of food and shelter, man also needs to communicate with his or her fellow human beings. This urge for communication is a primal one and is our contemporary civilization's a necessity for survival. That is to say, without communication, no society can exist, much less develop and survive. for the existence as well as the organization of every society. Communication is a fundamental and vital process. A free press is a luxury. It is at the core of equitable development. The media can expose corruption. They can keep a check on public policy by throwing a spotlight of government actions. They let people voice diverse opinions on a governance and reforms. And it also helps build public consensus to bring about change. Such media help markets work better. They can facilitate trade, transmitting ideas and innovation across boundaries. The media are also important for human development, bringing health and education, information to remote villages in different countries. But as experience has shown, the independence of the media can be fragile and easily compromised. It is clear that to support the development, media need the right environment in terms of freedoms, capacities, and checks and balances. Currently, the success of agricultural development programs in developing countries largely depends on the nature and extent of use of mass media and mobilizations of people for development. The planners in developing countries realize that the development of agriculture could be hastened with the effective use of mass media. Radio, television has been acclaimed to be the most effective media for diffusing the scientific knowledge to the masses. In a country like Pakistan, where literacy level is low, the choice of communication media is of vital importance. In this regard, the television and radio are significant, as they transfer modern agricultural technology to literate and illiterate farmers. They are like an interiors areas within short time. Among the several mass media, newspapers and farm magazines are commonly used. They have a vital role to play in the communication of agricultural information among the literate farmers. Increasing the rate of literacy in the country offers new promises and prospects for utilizing print medium as a means of mass communication. The print media widened the scope of communication. It is cheap and people can afford to buy and read them in their convenience. It is a permanent medium, and that the message are imprinted permanently with high storage value, which makes them suitable for references and research. Agricultural journalism is of recent origin in Pakistan. It is now gaining importance, particularly after the establishment of different agricultural universities in Pakistan. Technical information needs to be provided to the farmers at the right time and in the right way, so that their productivity can be increased. At the end, let's talk about the role of media and national development in the 21st century. States can be developed and built by deliberate human actions. The distinctions is necessary at the outset as we produced to examine how man-made factors such as media and others can influence the process of of national as well as the state development. Factors that will impact upon national development in the 21st century include geopolitical, economic, technological, social, and cultural conditions of intense, rapid change as well as resistance to change. Climate change may devastate whole ecosystems so badly that nations too could be destabilized at their cores. The physical frontiers and the communication frontiers of nation states, they are all likely to be in sharp contrast, even as they sometimes converge as individualized electronic linkages, for example, wireless internet or cell phones, and other choices, proliferate media, and nations and citizens may assume new shared roles. Before I speculate about the role of media in a national development in the 21st century, let us recall the role of media in a similar context in previous times. For more than in earlier centuries, with print media and books, it was the 20th century that modern mass media acquired a pervasive political presence. Media played a significant role in national affairs and in national development across the world, regardless of the specific type of nation and state they are located in. Nation states may be categorized according to their levels of evolution as nations and as states, and as per their levels of economic development and military power. It is not intended here to name each country in each such category, but only to indicate broad categories of nation states whose descriptive titles changed over time as a result of global political transformation. In the 19th and 20th centuries, nations and nation states could be described as belonging to anyone or more of the following descriptions. They were categorized in different categories or different nations, like colonizing nations, for example, Britain, France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, and Italy. The next was categorized as the colonized nations, for example, most of the South Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The third was categorized as a non-colonizing nations, for example, Switzerland and Finland. The last category was the non-colonized nation, for example, Thailand and Nepal. During the two world wars of the 20th century, there were the Allied powers and their adversaries known as the Axis powers. In the era that began after the Second World War, the levels of economic development and institutional stability divided nations and states into the first world, for example, the United States and Canada, into the second world, for example, major communist and socialist states, and the third world like Kenya, Pakistan. Alternative terminologies for these three words for countries came to be used in the terms developed countries to refer to those who became members of the Organizations for Economic Cooperation and Development. representing countries with the highest per capita incomes. Round about 150 countries, including both middle and low income nations, are generally described as developing countries. There are also the least development countries. Their abbreviation is LDC, least development countries. Cutting across such categories, moving across continents and time zones, covering phases of peace and of war, of stability and tension, applying to nations and states in diametrically different conditions. Media have rendered roles in the development of nations as articulators of national identity, promoting campaigns for independence from colonialism, or where nations were already free, as reinforcers of recognized national identities. I think that's enough for today. I will come up with a new video lecture. Thanks for watching my video. Kindly subscribe my channel so that you can get my new lecture in your notification. Thanks a lot and best of luck.